Hello and welcome back to the channel. A very warm welcome to you. Now, unfortunately, absolutely horrible situation unfolded in the early hours of yesterday morning, where sadly it's resulted in loss of life once again. 4 individuals have lost their life in yet another Tesla fire. It would have been 5 if it wasn't for the actions of a passerby. We've got all the information on the story here, got some video footage, so let me get you fully up to speed. Horrific. 4 people dead after Tesla slams into pillar and catches fire on Lakeshore Boulevard. There's also a video in this as well. I'll link to that. 4 people are dead and another is in hospital after a Tesla driving through downtown Toronto at a high rate of speed crashed into a guardrail and struck a concrete pillar on Lakeshore Boulevard. It happened in the eastbound lanes of the busy road east of Cherry Street shortly before 12:15 a.m. The vehicle lost control, struck a guardrail, and then struck a concrete pillar. Upon impact, the vehicle then caught fire. Duty Inspector Philip Sinclair told reporters Thursday morning. We can see there just the charred remains of it. Awful. He confirmed that 3 men and a woman, all believed to be in their 20s and 30s, were pronounced dead at the scene. Another driver who was in the area at the time of the crash stopped and managed to pull one woman in her 20s from the burning car. Now, if I may, let me hit the pause button here because this article doesn't mention it. It's a significant detail though. This was found in a separate article, but this article does go on to say that an eyewitness said that there were several cars stopped to help and were trying to break the windows of the car to help those involved in the crash. Now, obviously, we don't have any conclusive details on this at the moment, but that sounds to me similar to instances that we've seen previous, where when a Tesla's involved in some sort of collision, the doors don't open. It seems to trap the occupants, something to do with the pop-out handles. So it sounds very much here like those passing by have been trying to break the windows because they're not able to get the doors open. As I say, we don't have anything confirmed on that right now, but that's certainly how it reads to me. A significant detail. I just wanted to include that for you for the purposes of making this as comprehensive as possible. She was transported to hospital with serious injuries, Toronto Paramedic Services said. However, she is expected to survive. I believe the fire had started when the bystander provided assistance. So again, thanks very much to that bystander, Sinclair said. We've been speaking to them, and obviously they are very deeply affected by this incident. A very horrific scene for that bystander to step in, and props to them. I've been in those shoes myself, not with an electric vehicle on fire, but stepping into any sort of accident it's a harrowing scene. So yeah, big props to them. Firefighters then arrived on scene to discover a significant fire, Deputy Fire Chief Jim Jessup said. Our crews worked to quickly extinguish the fire, and then once the fire was extinguished, our crews noted a number of persons inside the vehicle. Jessup said, under the direction of the Coroner's Office and the Toronto Police Service, Toronto firefighters carefully extracted the bodies, and they are now in the care of the Office of Chief Coroner. Images from the scene showed the charred and crumpled vehicle being hauled away from the site of the crash. There was a heavy police presence at the scene through the early morning hours, and the collision reconstruction unit working to piece together exactly what happened. I think here we'll jump over to some footage now that was found in another article. This was recorded by a road worker, someone doing works on a nearby road, just with their phone. So let's take a look.
Once the fire was extinguished, our crews noted a number of persons inside the vehicle. Under the direction of the coroner's office,
So something else that was mentioned in the article is the investigators are examining the vehicle's batteries. Jessup said that the intensity of the fire was directly linked to the battery cells in the Tesla and noted that thermal runaway has been a growing concern with lithium-ion powered devices. Not just cars, these bikes, scooters and so on. Firefighters are up against it with these things. I will say we had to take extra care this morning in reopening the lake shore with the assistance of Toronto Police and removing and transporting one of the battery packs that was ejected during the collision. So it's been a hard enough impact that it's actually fired one of these battery packs out onto the road. We worked with Transportation Services, Solid Waste and Parks and Recreation to arrange a dumpster to arrive, where the Toronto Fire Service placed the ejected cell into the dumpster, covered it with sand, and we have now escorted that dumpster up to a yard to make sure that it is safely disposed of. Lithium-ion battery packs have been known to reignite even weeks after the initial fire. He said, noting that the fire service has been paying increased attention to the issue. This is something that's certainly going to be an evolving risk that Toronto Fire Service has been very proactive on in preparing for the future, Jessup said. Now, of course, it goes without saying, this is a tragic incident for all those involved. Sincerest condolences once again. They hit a concrete post. Who's to say it would be any different in any other type of vehicle, be it an EV, a petrol or a diesel? The one thing that strikes me from this, and we got from that article, was the fact the doors didn't open. It's something we've heard of before on Teslas. After an accident, the doors don't seem to open. So for that rescuer approaching the car, one would presume they tried the door handle first, if it had indeed popped out, before they've had to resort to smashing the window on top of the occupants inside. Hopefully this prompts further research into that issue. It might have been the case that the door has just been too beaten up, too mangled to get access to the door handle. But the one thing that did definitely exacerbate things here was the presence of that lithium-ion battery. It just causes the fire to burn so much more ferociously, as is reported by the fire chief. And even getting them taken away, getting them recovered afterwards is a complete nightmare. Having to get a dumpster, put them in sand, isolate them away from everything else, keep them away from structures. It's just a complete nightmare. It is an extremely sad situation for everyone involved, and if the story develops, I'll be sure to bring you an update. Thank you for watching.